Trackies, welcome back to another video. Smash that subscribe button, guys. Yeah, help this new channel to grow. This is TXT Track Time News and not TXT Track Time. So help this new channel to grow. Also, guys, turn your notifications on if it's not on, so you know every time I post. As well, guys, yeah, comment. I love reading the comments as well. It's really enjoyable. Plus, I learn a lot as well from the comment section. And yeah, don't forget to smash that like button. That's how the videos get through the algorithm. Now, trackies, let's dive into the world release. It starts tomorrow. Oh my gosh, world release. 2 days of riveting action. We will see the debut of the mixed 4x1 release. I'm looking forward to that so much. But before we get into the excitement, just want to highlight the fact that a few teams, unfortunately, were not granted visas, or a few of the athletes, unfortunately, were not granted visas to compete at the World Relays in China. Now, based on a few reports that I did read, it seems as though this is probably has something to do with the tariff war going on with USA and China. So a lot of athletes that were based in the USA were not granted visas. But if you were, applying from your home country, let me put out a Team Nigeria, for example. I do know that I did read a report where the USA-based athletes were not granted visas, but the ones in Nigeria were, right? And this is definitely not a good look. World Athletics should have ensured that, regardless of whatever tariff war is going on with USA and China, the athletes, this is sports, the athletes were able to compete for their countries. And unfortunately, yeah, a few of these athletes, which means that the teams in general, because you need a whole four for each relay, right? So if they're not able to get visas, then more than likely they don't have the full makeup for their relay team. So really, really unfortunate for these teams. I'm hoping though that they'll be able to structure something where if they don't have a time that falls in the top 16, they'll be able to get a qualification time. So times are brought over for a year. So 2024, if your times are within top 16 by the time the qualification date cuts off, then yes, you will be able to compete even if you're not at the world release, right? So if the teams do have the time, great. If not, then hopefully World Athletics figures it out for them and they'll be able to get a qualification time for the championship upcoming. Now, I do also know that for the world relays, I was really looking forward to seeing Botswana compete in the 4x4. Unfortunately, they did also remove themselves from the competition, but citing personal issues or personal reasons. So they will not compete. But guess what? They have the second fastest time in the world when it comes to 4x4s. So ain't nobody, going to be kicking them out from top 16. I don't see that ever happening when it comes to Botswana. So they'll be for sure competing at the World Championships coming up. But yeah, outside of that, track is on to the excitement. As I said, we're really looking forward to the mixed 4x1. And guess what? News did come out shortly after they released the team for Jamaica that will be competing, that the GOAT Shelly Fraser Price will be competing in the mixed 4x1 relay, and that's actually the first event that is up. So I'm really, really excited to see how that mixed 4x1 will go. I mean, based on the snippets that I see floating around, it looks as though some thought has gone into the structure as well. I've complained about how they've been structuring our relays over the years, but with so much new faces now, clearly they have to shuffle things now and really make sure that they're putting people on the proper legs. And it looks as though that's what is happening, because I did see Shelly and I saw, I believe, Tina Clayton to a Shelly, and it looks like that was probably first to second. Now, if I'm recalling the standard set for the mixed relay, it's supposedly female, female, male, male, right? So if that's the case, then it would be Tina on first and Shelly on second. So when I think about, looking at a Tina into a Shelly, I think that's a good start when it comes to the relays. For now, check is it's really trial and error. They really have to be trying new things. There are lots of up and coming new faces that will take part in the senior setup. Yes, a lot of them have been running as juniors, but when it comes to meshing now with the seniors, you have to start shaking things up. So it's really trial and error. for these teams. The only complaint I would say I have, and it's not necessarily a complaint, but as I said, I would really love to see Sharika Jackson run on a different leg. But so far it seems as though she's stuck on anchor based on, as I said, the snippets that I see is floating around. But for sure the women's 4x1 team is very, very strong. We have Nisha Berger, Tia Clayton, Tina Clayton, Serena Cole, Sharika Jackson, Natasha Morrison, Shelly Fraser Price, Alana Real, and Crystal Slowly. I think overall, when it comes to splitting these athletes, whether it be for the mixed 4x1 or the 4x1 itself for the women, I definitely think that these teams are strong enough, or these athletes are good enough to get us either to win, because I'm looking at the women's 4x1 team. It's definitely giving us winning, you know what I mean, for sure, if they're able to execute the baton changes, because that's what is important. As long as they're able to do so, this team is giving us we're going to win, you know what I mean. So outside of that, the mixed 4x1 is just going to be see how they navigate that, since it's men and women. But I think our athletes have it. I definitely think they have it. They've been competing for a minute. As I said, they've been coming from the junior ranks and now into the senior ranks. Now for the men, things are a bit more interesting there, because again you have the likes of Akishane Thompson. We saw him recently at the Miramar Invitational. Didn't really like him on the anchor leg, but I did say at the time as well that I'm giving him some more time. I want to see him again, on that anchor leg, to see what it actually looks like. And funny enough, I've been enjoying the snippets. If the snippets are anything to go off, that first few strides off for Kishane look very, very good. So they had Johan on third, and Kishane and Anchor, and I believe Julian Fort was on the backstretch. And I talked about Julian Fort, I believe, when they competed at the Gibson Relays, and I said, hey, I loved what I saw from a Julian Fort. So I was picking out athletes that I thought really competed strongly, and Julian Fort was one of them. He's here. They have him on the backstretch. He's looking good. I see Johan on third. He's looking good as well. Kishane, as I said, that first 50 looks really, really strong. The issue now, well, it wasn't 50, it wasn't that much trial. I don't know what I'm talking about when I say 50. Maybe 5 meters, 5-10 meters. That 5-10 meters looks really, really good. You know what I mean? But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens there on out. I want to see how strong his final 50 is, because that is where you'll have the likes of, just putting this out there. Let's say South Africa is behind. Let's say Canada is behind. You'll have the likes of an Akani Simbine and Anchor coming. You have the likes of Andre de Grasse behind coming. So you have to look out for, those athletes that are really good closers on Anchor. And if Kishane will be able to either extend the lead that he's given or hold on, you know what I mean? So I'm really, really looking out for that. But for now, as I said, the teams are pretty strong. Akeem Blake unfortunately pulled out due to injury that he picked up at unfortunately Grand Slam, so he's not able to compete there. But I still think this is a really, really strong crew of athletes that we have. Johan, Julian Fort, Rashid Foster, Brian Level, Javari Thomas, Kishane Thompson, Rohan Watson. I think it doesn't matter how they split it. I think these teams, or these set of athletes, will be able to make a strong 4x1 relay team for the men, and also a mixed 4x1 team. And they should have no issues either winning. As far as I'm concerned, these teams are good enough to win, because on everybody send them a team. You know what I mean? So these teams should be good enough to win. And if not win, get us on the podium, and more importantly than anything else, qualify for the next round. What where things become slightly interesting is clearly the 4x4s, where I don't necessarily think we are sending the strongest female team. I think there's a lot of pressure that's probably going to be placed on Stacey and Williams's shoulder. She's going to have to carry a lot of heavy weight, unfortunately. And I do think that, if they focus the best women on the 4x4 for women, it means that the mixed 4x4 team probably won't be in a good stead. It's not looking the best. So we have Shanna K. Anderson, we have Kellyanne Beckford, we have Ranisha McGregor, we have Cheyenne Salmon, we have Wanda White, we have Jodine Williams, and we have Stacey Ann Williams. As I said, Stacey Ann being the most premier athlete there, still in the thick of things when we look at globally competing in the 400 meters. But then we have some sprinters, some 800-meter athletes, and some 400-meter athletes that are not necessarily in their best shape, or some hurdlers. You know what I mean? So again, their pet event is not the four. So it's going to be interesting to see, how well these women compete in the 4x4s and the mixed 4x4s. But it looks as though the mixed 4x4 team and the women's 4x4 team will struggle a bit. The only saving grace I will say when it comes to the women and the 4x4s is that there are not that many strong countries in the world when it comes to 4x4 running. So even if we don't place high, they should still be able to get into qualifying. You know what I mean? So I don't really have any concern there. But the mixed 4x4 is going to be interesting because from a male perspective, no, when you think about the athletes that are there, we have Zandrian Barnes, we have Xavier Brown, Demar Francis, Malik James King, Delana Kennedy, Rashid McDonald, and Tyrese Roden. They're really going to have to carry most of the weight when it comes to that mixed 4x4 team, right? So I think this 4x4 team is strong enough to qualify. You know what I mean? I think they will definitely make it to finals and compete strongly. When you think about, other countries that will not be there, like a Botswana, that makes, things a bit better for Jamaica when it comes to competing and making it to the finals. So how things stand right now, I am excited for the men's 4x4. I definitely think they qualify. And as I said, I think when it comes to the mixed 4x4, when you merge it with the women, the men will have to carry most of the weight. So they're just going to have to go into the competition understanding that they don't have the strongest team and, fight tooth and nail to try to get in. I want to see them leave it all on the track. And that's pretty much what they have to do, if they want to get in. That's my view, especially if you're looking at things from a time perspective as well, because time qualifications are very important. We saw what happened last year. We didn't get in because we didn't have a strong enough time, right? So, track is that is my thoughts when it comes to our team. I think we're in a pretty good stead. I'm only just concerned about the mixed 4x4 for the most part. So tomorrow morning our time, we're looking forward to seeing first up the mixed 4x1. I'm excited for that. Apparently Shelly goes in that, so I'm excited. Then we have as well the mixed 4x4. I'm really eager to see that as well. Well, I'm eager to see everything, to be fair. So we have the mixed 4x4 coming up, the women's 4x1, the men's 4x1, the women's 4x4, and the men's 4x4. So that's pretty much what we will be seeing tomorrow, pretty much just qualifying to the next round. So all the finals will be done on Sunday. So that's what to look forward to on Saturday, the first day, just qualifying. I think our teams make it into the finals, save maybe, a bit of a struggle when it comes to probably the mixed 4x4. But anyway, we'll see how things go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, trackies. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.